Zach. You really got to keep that same energy tonight on the pod.
Tonight, energy's going to be high. I'm going to keep it.
Bro, you already sound better. And by the way, let me say,
better, feel better.
My bad about last week, bro. I put way too much Michigan slander out there. And man, they proved me wrong.
Hey, play the music. I
don't need that right now. All right, guys. Welcome to the No Cap Sports Podcast. I'm your host, Chris, with my co-host.
What's poppin', yo?
Zach.
It's Zach. What's good?
Man, this is another week.
Another week.
We're
back. We got some good feedback from y'all, too. I appreciate it. Everybody who reached out, let me know how y'all felt about it. Gave me some, insight.
Yeah, man. So we're going to try and take that feedback you guys gave. We're going to make it a little bit better this week, hopefully. And if you guys like it, like right now, we're on YouTube. So like, comment, share, and subscribe.
Hit that notification bell, please.
Yeah, you guys should stay notified because every week we're dropping a new podcast.
Every week, bangers on bangers on bangers.
All right, Zach. Like I said, you're keeping the energy. I like this.
Hey, we about it.
All right, man. So let's go ahead and start really quickly, man. Baseball this week. How surprised are we now?
I look stupid, but
me too. I look even more stupid.
It's okay. It's a good series. I like that.
Oh, I like this, man. And these Astros, man.
It's surprising, which it builds, a storyline on it. It's awesome.
And when I talk about the momentum, remember last time I was talking about, man, Nats are momentum. They're killing it. They're keeping it up. Astros took the momentum right back.
Sucked it right out of them.
They're scoring runs like it's no one's business.
Back-to-back games held the Nationals to 1 point, both games.
1 run,
in Washington.
Yeah, bro. So, I mean, as of right now, the Astros could end up winning the series as we're recording this tonight.
Right now it's 2-1?
It's 2-1 Astros.
Yeah, that's crazy, man. I really didn't see this coming at all.
I mean, I'm sure a lot of the baseball enthusiasts, baseball fans would say, well, the Astros were the better team. They were the better team.
Yeah.
100%.
All season. The Nationals had momentum.
Yeah, but all season, Astros, #1 team, favorite to win the World Series, and they're going to probably do it.
Hopefully.
I mean, I'm still an attitude right now.
See, I'm okay with being wrong because, I was rooting for the Nats. I saw some guy bet $3.5 million on the Astros, and the payout's $11 million. That's insane, bro.
Yeah,
good for
bro.
him.
I mean, if he wins it, bro, good for that guy.
Way to chase a check, bro. Good for you.
But no matter what happens, by the time that this podcast goes up, the series is probably going to be over. And if it's not, the series will end before the next one's recorded. I do want to congratulate the Nationals and the Astros on an amazing season.
Yeah, way to go, both of them. They played their hearts out this year.
Yeah, bro. The Nationals got rid of Bryce Harper, and they're in the World Series.
But it paid off for them.
It really did pay off. And the Astros, man, they really spent a lot of money on their pitching, and they made deals to bring in pitching like Garrett Cole and Justin Verlander last year, and it's paid off.
But can we talk about Strasburg right now?
All right, well, I mean, tonight Strasburg's not looking too hot, but
that's okay.
Tonight, I mean, coming into the game, he 4-0, an ERA under 1.5. I mean,
which is insane. That's crazy.
And for Steven Strasburg to be unleashed like this is what we've been hoping for in Steven Strasburg's career.
Yeah, for sure.
And they finally did it. And they paid Patrick Corbin, and they have Scherzer, and this is two teams that built their pitching for a game 1, 2, 3, just aces.
Yeah, for sure.
And these young lineups, they're killing it no matter what. If it's power, they've got it. If they're looking to get on base and steal a base, they've got it. I mean, these are two teams that, I mean, for the future, I mean, even though the Astros are going to lose Garrett Cole after the season, they're going to be back here.
Oh, yeah, 100%. This is the start of a great franchise, a great team that's just built with good chemistry, powerhouses there, power hitters, everything they have, the tools for success they got there, for sure.
Yeah. So, I mean, like we were saying, congratulations to both teams. Very amazing seasons for each of them. And I'm excited for the future. And, the offseason's coming up and a lot of free agents are going to be out there. So it should be an exciting offseason in baseball.
Yeah, for sure. It's going to be interesting, I think. To say the least, it's going to be interesting.
For sure, guys. All right. So we're going to go ahead and transition. I know I was a little bit quick on the baseball, but the series isn't over yet. So we can't congratulate the team just yet on who won. So we're going to go ahead and transition right into Chris's corner. We're going to talk a little bit basketball. Last week was the start of the season, and it was a really, really fun time to be a fan of basketball because the season's back, players on new teams, stars in new places, and we got to see some amazing basketball. And this week, there was nothing different. So we're just going to go ahead and roll down the list of teams, and I'm going to sort of do it how I did last week. So we'll start with Philly. The definition of excellence in the East. They are leading the East sort of how people thought they would. They're 3-0. Joel Embiid, Ben Simmons, Josh Richardson, Tobias Harris, Al Horford. That's a starting five that should probably win the East. The Milwaukee Bucks, I mean, as of right now, they're 2-1. Giannis, Chris Middleton, Eric Bledsoe, Brooke Lopez. This is another team that lineup should be able to get them top 3 in the East. And the East, we call them weak. But I think this season, the East is going to surprise a lot of people. And one of those teams, the Atlanta Hawks. The Atlanta Hawks, 2-1. Young, fiery, Trae Young, John Collins. All the guys they've drafted in the last few years. This team is battling, and I like it. The Raptors, they got rid of Kawhi, and, well, they're still second in the East. They've been able to replace that Kawhi energy with the Siakam energy. Kyle Lowry. OG Anunoby. This team is good, and they'll probably stay good. The Heat, what a surprise.
Yeah, that's a huge surprise to me, honestly.
This was a team that got Jimmy Butler, and they've played the first 3 games without him. And they're still contending in the East right now, which I know it's early, 3 games in, but they're winning games. Goran Dragic, Justice Winslow, Bam Adebayo. This team's good. The East is good. I'm not afraid to say it. I know everybody loves to talk about how the West is the best. The East is good, and they'll stay good. The Celtics, I mean, this is a team that I was sort of low on coming into the season. I don't really like Kemba Walker as a top-tier point guard. He's getting over the hill. He's 30. He's small. He's undersized. But I can't lie. This team is just gritty. They're 2-1 as well. I mean, this is a team, Gordon Hayward, Jason Tatum, Jaylen Brown. They're finding ways to win. The Pistons, what a surprise. That's your team.
Hey!
Andre Drummond, the leader.
Yeah, for sure.
Derrick Rose.
Especially without Blake right now, he really stepped up in that role.
Derrick Rose. I love me some Derrick Rose.
MVP.
This is going to be probably 6th man of the year.
Yeah.
And it's fun. I mean, him and Lou Will, they're going to fight for it. I love the story of the Pistons this year because they're a team without Blake right now that are just winning games. They're finding ways to do it.
They're 2-2 right now, but, they look good. They play with good chemistry. They look great right now.
Yeah, and then now the rest of the East. This is a weird one. So, Indiana, 0-3. This is a team that Indiana was supposed to be the top 4, top 3 in the East. And right now they're 0-3. They're slow. Their best players are Malcolm Brogdon, who they recently acquired, Victor Oladipo, who's hurt, and Miles Turner and Sabonis. That's 2 bigs. Not many teams can roll 2 bigs as their best players. They're rough right now. The Cavs. As of right now, they're the 8th seed. They're 1-2. I mean, they're young. Tristan Thompson and K-Love are sort of the veteran leaders on that team. I don't know how long they can make it last. I mean, this is a young team, and they're one for the future. The Nets. Oh, disappointing to start at least. They're not playing very much defense. Kyrie looks great. Taurean Prince looks like a good pickup. But the rest of the team, Karis LeVert's sort of been struggling. I mean, they haven't really been finding a rhythm with Jared Allen or DeAndre Jordan. And they're not getting much production out of anyone else there. That bench looks pretty weak. Dinwiddie's not been good. Nets are disappointing. And I'm disappointed because that's my team. But they've been disappointing. The Orlando Magic. Markelle Fultz. Hey, he looks pretty exciting. He looks like the Markelle Fultz we thought he would be. He's pulling threes. Aaron Gordon's there. Aaron Gordon's good. Nick Vucevic, he's good. Jonathan Isaac, young. Defensive player. He can get buckets, though, if he wants to. Evan Fournier, same thing. I mean, the team's good. The team is good. I just don't understand how they can never put it together. The Wizards. This is the team I call a dumpster fire. Surprisingly enough, they're not that bad. Bradley Beal sort of hasn't had the best of a season to start off, but all the talent there is sort of making it work. The Hornets, the Knicks, and the Bulls. I'm sorry, you guys are still ones for the future. RJ Barrett looks good for the Knicks. I love it. I like when the Knicks are good. It makes the crosstown rivalry fun. The Bulls, Kobe White looks good. Zach LaVine's great. I like when the Bulls are good too. The Bulls make the East fun. Chicago has a big fan base. The Hornets, I mean, PJ Washington looks pretty okay. Terry Rozier, not so much. For their big signing, not the greatest. The West, man. The West is the best, right? You got the Spurs. That's a team that not a lot of people thought would probably win the West, and right now they're first. They look good. Pop's doing a number there. Devontae Murray came back from injury, and he looks really good. This is the guy that they signed for 4 years, $64 million for a good reason. T-Wolves, Cat. My God. Is there anyone better right now at center than Cat? Probably not. This man's nailing threes, grabbing boards, blocking shots. He's putting 30 a game. This dude is a monster. He's carrying that Wolves team right now. The Nuggets and Jazz, these are two teams that a lot of people thought they're boring, but they're good. They're really good. The only down spot for each team is one of their star players. Jokic hasn't been great. For the Jazz, Mike Conley's been horrible. But Donovan Mitchell's carrying that team. Rudy Gobert is really good. Clippers, Rockets, Lakers. These are supposed to be the top three teams in the West. And they're sort of towards the bottom right now of the playoff hunt, which I know it's early. Again, 3 games in. LeBron and AD still aren't clicking very well. They've looked good in 1 game together. They still need some time to work out those kinks. Mavs, KP, Doncic. What a combo. I love those guys. I really wish KP stayed in New York, but I mean, that's just how the Knicks do business, I guess. Suns. They're looking competitive. Devin Booker. Ricky Rubio. He's hurt right now. But Ricky Rubio. DeAndre Ayton. He's out 25 games, but they're really making it work. Kelly Oubre's putting up buckets. Trailblazers. Warriors. Grizzlies. They're down here with these teams? The Trailblazers and Warriors are down here? That's crazy. Those teams have talent. Warriors, less talent than the Trailblazers, but the Trailblazers have talent. And they're sitting down here with the Thunder? I mean, Shai Gilgeous looks good. For sure. But, man, this was a team that everybody thought wouldn't be contending for anything. Why are the Kings at the bottom? What happened there? The Kings were this young team last year that came up and everybody said, man, this could be a team that could fight for an 8th seed. The Kings are 0-4 with the Pelicans. Another team that a lot of people thought could fight for the 8th seed. That's crazy. That's crazy to me. Both these teams have talent, but they're just not finding ways to win the game. The NBA is a long season. We got 82 games. We're only 3 or 4 games in. I'm excited for the rest of the season. I'm excited for Zach to learn about basketball.
I'm excited to learn about basketball.
I mean, this is something that I hope you're able to get in on as we move on through our podcasts.
I definitely think I'll be able to learn a lot more and, get used to the game of basketball a lot more and understand it more,
Yeah, for sure. And, it's a long season. You got 82 games. We can catch some games. I'll be able to, tell you who's hot, who's not, what's looking good. You'll learn the game very easily. And I think you'll be able to get on this podcast with me in the future and be able to conversate with me a little bit.
I'm definitely looking forward to that. Yeah, for sure.
All right. Well, for basketball, that's pretty much it. I mean, it's going to be a long season. So these basketball segments, they're not going to be that long until some big news happens, trades, etc., stuff like that. So let's go ahead and move on. Zach, like I said, Michigan slander, I am sorry.
I'm sorry. One more time?
For the people in the back, Michigan slander, I was so sorry.
Say it with your chest.
I said it with my chest, Zach.
Yes, sir.
I was so wrong. Notre Dame came out flat, and they took an L.
They look dead out there. They look like a fish out of water.
Now, let me tell you something. You didn't want Haskins running the ball. But what happened?
He took off. He really took off.
So you were wrong about one thing. I'm going to hold you that.
I was wrong about Hassan Haskins because I still think that Charbonnet should be the number 1 back. And when he was in there, what was he doing?
Bro, he gets
yards.
That's what he does.
Danny, pull up how many yards he had for me, please.
All right, anyway, so while he's looking at that. So yeah, okay, I was wrong about Michigan. All right, I was wrong. I'm sorry.
How about Shai? I want to hear you say
no, I'm not saying anything about Shai. Shai sucks.
Shai did good that game,
I'm not talking
too.
about it.
He had 2 total touchdowns. He had a great ball against in the red zone. He threw a great ball to DPJ. Somehow DPJ caught that. Donovan Peoples-Jones is a beast. Absolute
Dylan McCaffrey's better than him.
Dylan McCaffrey's still young.
He's better than him.
But sure, next year you're going to see that.
I hope so, because I do not want to watch Shea Patterson.
Shea Patterson's not going to be there next year.
Exactly.
He's a senior.
Exactly. And I'm so glad he's leaving.
I mean, I'm happy with Shea. And especially people who dislike Shea, especially, all the people who are Michigan fans who think Shea doesn't deserve to be our starter right now. He knows the system. His fumbling issues, how many fumbles did he have last week? He had 1, I'm pretty sure. 1 or 2.
Yeah.
And he still made up for it, and he still dictated that game with his RPOs, everything he was doing. He made the right decisions, except for that one shovel pass left hand. It was weird.
Okay, so we need Haskins' yardage and then
Charbonnet and Charbonnet's.
Yeah, you give them both. Give both.
Okay, so Haskins had 149 yards. But also, just to answer your question real quick, Shea Patterson fumbled 3 times.
Garbage.
That game?
Yeah.
Okay.
Garbage.
See, I was wrong about that.
It was 2+1.
How many did he recover?
Bro, it doesn't matter.
He didn't recover any, but Daxton Hill recovered 2. So really only 1 fumble lost.
Yikes.
All right, so how many
Whoops.
yards did Charbonnet have? That's the second running back on that list.
He had 15 carries for 74 yards and 2 touchdowns.
That's good.
Average 4.9 yards per carry.
That's good.
Okay, so
and he's making himself the number 1 there,
all
which
right,
is great.
So Michigan.
May I add something?
Yeah, go ahead.
His longest carry was 35 yards. So if you take away that 1 carry, he really has 14 carries for 49 yards.
Okay. Anyway, I was wrong about Michigan. I'm gonna take the L on that one.
I'm glad.
But let's look at somebody else who took the L this week.
Oklahoma.
Man, Kansas State, K-State.
I don't know how they did it.
I can tell you how they did it. They scored on 8 straight possessions.
Insane.
Man, Oklahoma. We just talked last week about Jalen Hurts, Heisman, right? This guy could win it. But how does this hurt his Heisman?
I think it helps Joe Burrow more than anybody else.
Which we'll talk about in just a little bit.
But it shows that, these close games, he did his best, but it wasn't good enough.
Which his best was really good, 4 total touchdowns.
But not good enough.
And somehow was not good enough to beat K-State. That defense let him down, though.
Yeah.
I mean, you'd think that Oklahoma could hold Kansas State to under 48 points.
I mean, Pac-12 defenses don't look strong ever, and it kills
Big 12.
them. Oh, Big 12. I'm sorry.
Yeah. No, I understand. It's tough because Oklahoma prided itself this year on playing better defense than it has in the past. And then K-State came in and just scored all over them.
And they didn't show up.
Yeah. And then, like you brought up, Joe Burrow. So, Auburn, LSU. What a game.
Awesome game.
I loved watching it.
That's always a good game, though.
Yeah, man. Joe Burrow willed that team to victory.
He showed up.
He willed the team to victory when they needed the most.
That's the deciding factor for right now. Jalen being number 2, Joe Burrow being number 1. Jalen Hurts number 2, Joe Burrow number 1 on Heisman.
Now let me bring this up real quick. I think LSU might have the best corner in the nation, and he's a true freshman.
Yeah,
which is crazy.
They call them DBU for a reason.
There's a reason it's DBU.
Yeah, they call them DBU, not Florida.
No,
I know a lot of Florida fans think that, but there's no way. LSU produces consistent, great DBs and safeties, and it's insane.
For sure. I mean, I'm not arguing that. I love LSU's DBs every time they come out.
But yeah, it was a close game, but Joe Burrow showed up. He played great. He had that clutch rush touchdown that, really sealed them the game. And their defense, like I said, their defense is so good.
Oh, I mean, we always rave about how SEC is all about defense and run game. But LSU's evolved their passing game, and they're still playing mean defense. And
their run game still is great.
For sure.
It's quiet and so underrated, but it is nasty run game. Especially against Florida. You saw him tear up Florida's defense. And Florida's rushing defense is a really good defense. Really good. They get a lot of credit, and they deserve it.
So, speaking of Florida, next week, the only really big game in college football is Georgia-Florida. And you're going to see DeAndre Swift, one of the best running backs in the nation, going against that run defense of Florida. How are you feeling about that game?
I'm going to upset a lot of people right now, and I know I am, because I really think
Florida's winning this game.
I think Georgia will get their stuff together.
Jake Fromm hasn't looked good.
He hasn't, but neither has Trask.
It doesn't even matter if Trask has looked good or not, because they find a way to win these games. Even when their quarterbacks got hurt, they were still winning. I don't understand it. This team literally finds a way to win no matter what.
They're paying the refs.
And I hate it. I hate it so much.
I'm not a fan of it at all. I really don't like Florida. I don't understand how they're doing it, honestly. Like I said, their defense looks so good too, though. Can't take anything away from their defense, man. Yeah,
so I'm going to take Florida in that game. You're going to take Georgia?
Georgia.
Okay.
What do you think the score is going to be?
I hope Georgia wins, but it's probably going to be like 24-14 Florida.
I think it's going to be closer than that. I think it's going to be 24-21 Georgia, because Georgia, Florida, they always play close games, I'm pretty sure. They usually are pretty close.
Yeah, it's usually it's an SEC game.
And these are two teams that are top 25 teams who have good teams.
Top 10. They're top 10.
Top 10, yeah.
8-6.
Yeah.
All right, so let's transition into the NFL. Something we didn't talk about last week.
Yeah.
And we're sorry to everyone. We got feedback on this. We're sorry to everybody we didn't talk about the NFL last week. We're going to talk about it this week, though. Trade deadline was today at 4 p.m.
Nope.
A lot of big names were rumored to be moving.
Didn't show up.
And then nothing happened.
I mean, Aqib Talib's the big one, I guess.
I mean, Aqib Talib is washed at this point.
Yeah.
And he went to Miami. It was a cap dump.
Yeah.
They put a 4th or 5th round pick with Talib, and they brought back a 7th. This was a straight cap dump. He's not going to want to play in Miami.
No, not at all. I mean, who wants to play Miami right now? Honestly.
It doesn't seem like it doesn't even seem like the owner and the GM want anybody to play there with the way they were trying to move players.
I don't understand why they didn't shop Devontae Parker. I think that's something.
I think they did. That was a whole thing. They've always shopped Devontae Parker. It's been every single year. The last 3 years, they've shopped him. Never got a deal they liked.
He needs to get out of there, man. It's not good for him there.
No, he's got a chance to get out of there, though.
Hopefully.
And speaking of these big names, I mean, the two biggest that may have come out was Jamal Adams and Le'Veon Bell, both Jets.
I don't see them leaving either. Le'Veon got the deal he wanted. He's unhappy right now because they're not winning. Same thing with Jamal Adams. But if they were winning, even if they were, at 500, different story.
Well, when it comes to these guys, okay, Jamal Adams is supposed to be the energy guy. He's the leader.
He is, though.
But he's not leading to anything.
But he has that energy.
It doesn't matter about the energy if you can't stop a nosebleed.
But I mean...
He's a box safety. So here's my thing. I'm a Jets fan, so I'm going to go ahead and just rip real quick.
Go ahead.
Box safety is a waste of a draft pick. I don't care how good he is. A box safety doesn't affect the game. Edge rusher, lockdown corner, quarterback. These are guys that affect the game. A box safety? Are you kidding me? I don't care how much energy this guy brings. Bro, I honestly, all day today, hoping Dallas got the deal done. Hoping the Ravens got the deal done. Because he's a box safety on a team that has so many needs. They're not going to win anytime soon.
Yeah, you're right.
And Le'Veon Bell. Okay, I love the guy. Love Le'Veon Bell. But the running back, we've seen it over and over and over and over and over and over. It doesn't matter if you're a 1st round pick, 2nd round pick, one of the best in the league. You shouldn't be paid like that.
It's next man up for them, though.
Because every single player on any team, any backup running back could probably slide into a starting job and do just as good as he's doing now.
James Conner did it.
Exactly. And that's what I'm saying. So running back, these positions don't matter. Running back, box safety, I don't care about that. Interior D lineman, only the elite of the elite matter. And so when we traded Leonard Williams to the Giants, which is a lot of people didn't like that, I didn't care. Because again, another top 6 pick on an interior defensive lineman. That doesn't affect a football game.
I was impartial about that trade, honestly. It doesn't make sense for New York to be trying to get the Giants, for them to try to stack their defense up. They need to work on their wide receivers, their O-line. They need to stack up on there for sure.
Okay, so there's a lot of needs each team has, but at the end of the day, there's only certain positions that affect a football game, and the ones that got traded just don't.
No, not at all.
And all the ones that were rumored just don't.
The big one, Jalen to LA.
Okay, that is a lockdown cornerback. That's 100% a top need in the NFL.
That was a big one. That was.
So that really was the best trade of all of them. Marcus Peters to the Ravens was okay.
He had a pick 6, his first game there, but he's quiet. He was quiet.
It's just one of those things where if we had all day to talk about the Jets on this podcast, I would go 9 hours and telling you how bad they are and how poorly run they are and all the mistakes they've made since 2011.
I'm pretty sure not everybody
cares. They don't care. Nobody cares. The Jets suck.
Because it's the Jets, bro.
Suck, and it doesn't matter, and I don't want to talk about them anymore. Trade deadline's over. Not a lot moved. It was just Talib and Leonard Williams yesterday or 2 days ago. Other than that, the NFL was sort of quiet today.
Yeah, we're at the midway point, so let's transition into this, though. It's been quiet week, yeah, but let's look at halfway through the season, how your standings going, how your rankings here.
You want to do like a top 5, or what are you thinking here?
Let's do a top 5. Just let's see
All right.
how it's going.
Who is your 5th best team?
My 5th best right now, I'm saying Houston. Houston.
Really?
Yeah, you?
Oh, man. Definitely not Houston right now. Number 5 for me is going to be Kansas City. And this is without Patrick Mahomes. And they're still in the top 5. I think when they get Mahomes back, they'll shoot up even further.
Yeah, I feel that. I have them at 4, honestly.
That's your 4?
Yeah, that's my 4.
Okay. For my 4, I'm going to say New Orleans. Just got Drew Brees back. Their defense has been outstanding. And while Teddy Bridgewater was there, he really was able to hold that team together.
He was a general on the field and kept their composure. And they went 5-0 with him.
Yeah, and the defense. This is the thing with the Saints. Every year we're always talking about how the Saints just need a better defense, When they won the Super Bowl, they had a great defense. And now all of a sudden, they have a really good defense.
Yeah.
And I think this could really propel them into the NFC, as probably NFC Championship game.
Yeah, a lot deeper than last year.
All right, so 3, I'll just keep going. Green Bay. I love Green Bay.
New Orleans for me.
Okay. So like I said, the reasons for New Orleans is probably the same as yours.
Yeah, 100%.
Green Bay for me is the same thing. Green Bay's always needed a defense. And all of a sudden, their defense is a monster. It's crazy. Literally, this is another thing that makes me so angry. Something that affects the game. Edge rusher. Packers signed 2 in the offseason. And without any wide receivers, Devontae Adams been out. They're still winning games.
Which is insane.
It's Aaron Rodgers. That's just what he does.
He is really just magic out there. And he has so much football IQ and just such good awareness and such good field vision. It's insane for me. Honestly, they're not my top 5. I have them at 6. I'm not going to lie. They look so good. And especially with Matt LaFleur there. It fits. It works. Everything's working. Until it doesn't, and that's what's scaring me.
Which is surprising, because week 1, everybody was sort of saying, oh, it's just not working.
I mean, to me, it looked like it wasn't going to work. I honestly thought they were going to be a 7-19. I thought Detroit was going to do better than them this year, and I am not a big fan of Detroit.
Yeah, I mean, that's the fun of the NFL. I think that's one of the best things is you can get proved wrong so quickly.
Yeah, I mean, every week.
Now, we're on 2-1. Can I just assume we have the same number 2 and number 1?
Number 2 for me are the 49ers.
49ers.
Number 1?
Patriots.
The Patriots, led by Tom Brady.
As much as he's going to hate me to say it, the GOAT, Tom Brady.
I mean,
that just hurt. I almost gagged.
Right now, the GOAT's their defense.
Yeah. So I saw a stat. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Their defense has scored more fantasy points. And I know this is not a fantasy podcast, but they've scored more fantasy points than almost every player except for 7 or 8.
Yeah.
And that's players.
I saw a thing where without their offensive scoring this year, their record would be 3-1.
Oh, I saw that. That's great. That's insane.
A better record than Miami.
That's a better record than half the league.
Which is insane.
Yeah. So, I mean, the 49ers, no disrespect to them. That defense is disgusting. And that run game, they are just loaded. They know how to play a very conservative game of offense, which makes Jimmy G not have to do too much, but I think that's what affects them in the playoffs.
He does just enough for them.
But I think in the playoffs, it's not going to be good enough.
It's too hard to tell right now, honestly. I think it's too hard to tell.
It's still too early. That's for sure.
Yeah, we're halfway through.
We're halfway through the season. So this is the last thing I want to say. Super Bowl predictions right now, midway. Are we going Pats Niners or are we going somewhere else?
I don't know. I think the Pats will make it. I think the Pats...
No, the Pats are 100% the team out of the AFC.
The way they are playing right now, I don't see anybody at all stopping them.
Now, for the NFC, though...
That's a toss-up, and I like that.
So who's your toss-up?
I want to say New Orleans as a sleeper.
That's not even a sleeper.
A dark horse. Let me say a dark horse.
Okay.
Because I don't see a lot of people thinking New Orleans is going to be able to get it done. But the way they've been playing, even with Teddy there, and their defense looking as great as it is, looking amazing.
I agree.
Their one loss against, Houston, and what was that, week 1 or week 2? And that came on a last-second field goal. A last-second field goal. And Houston is getting this reputation, especially Deshaun Watson. He's getting this reputation of being this fourth quarter guy, this comeback guy.
This kid's a winner.
Yeah, it's ingrained in him.
That's all he's done his whole life.
All the way from Clemson.
Even before that, his high school career was the same thing.
Exactly.
The dude just won.
Yeah.
So okay, so you didn't give me a straight answer on your NFC though. Who is the team?
I said Saints. Yeah, New Orleans.
All right. So for me, it's going to be the Patriots versus the Packers. I want to see Aaron Rodgers duke it out against Tom Brady.
I will. That's entertaining.
That's big money.
That's fun.
But I mean, again, Drew Brees and Tom Brady would also be very entertaining because that's the two old elder statesmen of the NFL going at it.
I think that, it's not going to be like last year's Super Bowl. I really don't see it being a defensive game. So a lot of people was a sleeper fest.
Yeah, a lot of people didn't like last year's Super Bowl.
I mean, I was impartial about it.
I didn't watch it. I refuse to watch any Patriots Super Bowl. So I will no longer watch. So if the Patriots make it this year, unfortunately, sorry guys, I'm going to have Zach recap that game.
I will definitely be watching it because football is football, and I love football.
I agree. I love football too, but there's at some point where your team makes you not want to watch football. Thanks, New York Jets.
I mean, I'm an Eagles fan, and they lost to Detroit. I live in a Detroit household. Everybody's a Lions fan but me, so I had to deal with that all week. Whole week, just ridicule.
I mean, I was at the game. I had to watch the Jets lose.
Yeah, that sucks. You see a little troll?
I don't need to talk about it. We're not talking about that anymore. Let's move to the meat and potatoes of what we really want to talk about tonight.
Yeah, because coming up this Saturday, huge card. Huge UFC 244 card.
UFC 244. And man, before the card, before this week, there was some news about Nate Diaz.
Came out last Thursday, yeah.
It's crazy because this was supposed to be the main event, right? And Nate Diaz gets popped by USADA apparently.
USADA, you guys are killing it.
So you are on the USADA is a joke.
Yeah,
train right now
for sure. USADA plays favoritism, and they just do what they want, and it's really affecting these guys' careers. Nate Diaz got popped for LGD 4033. It's a drug that was developed to treat muscle mass because of different health complications, and it increases lean muscle mass.
So you're talking about that, right? Isn't that something similar to Ostarine?
Yeah, same kind of group. Same,
okay.
Because they're both anabolic. They're considered anabolic steroids.
Okay, yes, okay. And Ostarine is something that when guys get popped for that, they're suspended.
Right off the bat, and that kills me because you saw in the NFL, you saw with Taylor Lewan who got popped for it.
Yep.
Sugar Sean O'Malley, I'm a huge fan of Sugar. He got popped for it, and literally it killed his whole year.
That was the end of his career, basically.
No, not yet.
For that year.
For 2019.
That killed this year, which was supposed to be a big year.
He got popped back last year around this time, and he got a 6-month suspension for it. He was supposed to come back and fight Cheeto Vera, and that just it killed his year. And this is something you can't take away from a kid that's that young still, because this is the years that he needs to grow and develop and make a name for himself in the UFC. You take this away, and he's losing time.
Yeah,
the UFC, you have a lifespan.
There is a shelf life to it because this is a combat sport.
And
you are getting hit.
Not everybody's going to be like the Anderson Silva or, a Mike Bisping where they last forever and ever.
Especially in the UFC today. The leash is so short on you where if you get popped or if you get on even a 2-fight losing streak, you're done.
That's scary. Because you know who's coming off a 2-fight lose streak?
Ben Askren.
Yes.
Which, speaking of Ben Askren, so this last fight night that was on.
Let's go over that a little bit.
Yeah, if we can do that, we'll go ahead there.
I want to talk about we both, ended up having the same record, 3-2.
Yeah, so we'll just start at the bottom here. So Muslim Salikov ended up winning that bout.
I saw that, yeah.
Yeah. Cyril Gane, submission victory.
Surprising.
I love Cyril Gane though.
I like him. He adds something to the heavyweight division that they need.
Yeah. Cyril Dariush.
Beneil Dariush.
Yeah, sorry. Beneil Dariush. I had their
big bounce back, like I said.
Yep, he needed it. Submission win.
Surprising.
Yeah. Stevie Ray. That was something I said.
I didn't see it coming because Michael Johnson is such a fast striker and such a fluid striker. He actually outstruck Michael Johnson 104-81.
It was fairly close though.
He had more significant strikes then Michael Johnson had total strikes, which blows my mind, especially with that one takedown that really solidified the fight.
Yep. And then finally, this is the one we were talking about. So Ben Askren submitted by Damian Maia. So really quickly, why did Askren give up his back so easily?
Tired.
Tired?
I think he was tired. Honestly, this kills me with Ben Askren. Kills me with Ben Askren.
So the kid's talented.
He is a national champion. Division I national champ who transitioned to MMA, had a 19-0 record at 1, which is an amazing organization.
Yep.
They're right there with Bellator and the UFC.
It's one in Bellator that are fighting for that sort of like.
And I personally,
one is really good.
My personal opinion, I think 1 beats them.
I could see it. Yeah, I really like 1.
Bellator signs these older, old heads who have been in the game so long that they're basically washed up. 1 is all these up and comers killing the game, and it gives the whole country or the whole continent of Asia a voice in mixed martial arts, which majority of, practices in Muay Thai, coming from Thailand, all these different, different styles coming from that area just gives them a platform, and it's good for them.
So back to this matchup. So Damian Maia wins the match, wins the fight.
And I know you're going to respond to what I'm saying the same way you always do. Ben Askren was winning that fight.
Which is something you say a lot. And no matter what matters...
It takes 1 round.
It just takes 1 round, and the decision is all that matters. And if he's going to submit Ben Askren by Ben Askren getting tired and giving up the back and getting choked out, that's it.
Let me say this too. Ben Askren, 4 for 7 on takedowns. Great.
Yeah, that's good.
Damian Maia, 0 for 0. So Ben Askren really was dictating that whole fight. I know in the first he got rocked, and you could see he was wobbly. But, I mean, for the most part, Ben Askren was out striking him, which is surprising.
This was a matchup that we touted last week as a wrestling dream.
And it was. Just not the outcome I was looking for.
Yeah, so...
Because I wanted to see go full 5 rounds. I honestly was not expecting Ben Askren to give up his back that easy. And it blows my mind because even as a wrestler, you know what to do when you give up your back. You fight the hands. You try to get up to your base, and you try to get up as easy and as clean as possible, And Ben Askren really...
It seemed like he gave up.
He felt... it looked like he felt defeated.
Yeah. So
and he was dictating that fight.
When it comes to Askren now, the 2-loss streak, is his time in the UFC over?
Too early to tell. I think he needs 1 more fight. If he wins this next fight, if he has one, it'll really say what. But I think it was a big flop for the UFC.
So this is one thing that came into my mind. When it comes to these guys that are supposed to be these highly touted guys, or it doesn't seem like Ben Askren was the guy the UFC wanted to do well, because you look at a guy like we sort of talked about last week, Greg Hardy. He's getting these cupcakes for his opponents. And then you see Ben Askren, and they're just throwing these vets at him and telling him, just go for it. Go at it.
I think Ben Askren, he was at that level, though. At 1, he built up this reputation as a killer.
Yes.
As a straight killer at the welterweight division.
But he didn't do it in the UFC.
No. And it shows the level of...
It's the difference of competition. It's the level of competition in 1 and UFC. UFC is just a different monster.
UFC is definitely the elite of the elite. That's where you want to be at for your prime. You don't want to be at these other places for your prime. You want to be up there when all these other organizations are down here.
I feel that. So yeah, that was for the fight night. So now we're back to 244. This is big. This is so big for you that you like the prelim matches. You like the early prelim matches. And I mean, even the whole card up to the main event, you like.
This card is stacked.
So
it is stacked.
When you look at the early prelims, you've got Julio Arc versus Hakeem Dawodo, who we love. We love Hakeem Dawodo.
Hakeem Dawodo is a young kid who is just, he's a monster, man.
In the featherweight division.
Yeah.
Adds
depth.
It really does.
And they're killers in the featherweight division. You got Zabit. You got Brian Ortega. Max Holloway, the king.
Max Holloway.
Excuse me. Jose Aldo was the king there.
Yep.
And he was still doing really well. He's moving to bantamweight, which is insane. You got Alexander Volkanovski. Killer. absolute killer. He ended Chad Mendes. He retired Chad Mendes.
I really do want the featherweight division to gain sort of that star power back. And I think
They have it.
I think Dawodo could add to it.
He's going to be the up-and-comer that really is going to help them shine. You know, Zabit's that right now.
Yep.
Dawodo within 2 years, that's going to be him.
Just remember the name.
Yeah, for sure. Remember the name.
Especially if you don't know it now.
He might be on the, he might be coming up soon, a fighter to watch. You never know.
Yep. We also have Layman Good versus Chance Rencontre.
Yeah, you got it. Lyman's a killer.
Yeah?
He's a killer. 20-5. He has experience.
Yeah, nothing tops experience when it comes to these types of fights.
And one of the things, people look at, they're like, oh, they're on the early prelims. They're on the prelims.
These are just guys that nobody cared about, is usually what people think.
Yeah. These are kids. These are kids and these are vets keeping their career alive and really carving the path for their future.
And you have to remember, these are still people who are fighting for a paycheck. This is their living. And the fact that these guys are on a pay-per-view in general, even if it is early prelim, it doesn't matter. They're on the card.
Yeah, that's what's important. They are good enough to be there.
And then we have a women's flyweight matchup. It's Caitlin Chukagian versus Jennifer Maia.
I don't really care for this. I'm not going to lie to you.
I think this is the only women's fight in the whole card.
Yeah.
It is.
Yeah, for sure. You got it.
So
Caitlin.
Yeah, you think so?
Up and comer, yeah.
I don't argue.
I mean, this fight's really not going to matter because nobody's going to dethrone any of the current champions. Weili Zhang, nobody's touching her.
Yeah, no, she's insane.
Not nasty.
It's literally like she's not from this planet when it comes to just her ability in the octagon.
Same thing as Valentina.
Okay,
Valentina is a straight killer. They got this division. This division. They got it just for her because this is her true weight. I honestly want to see her in a trilogy against Amanda Nunes.
Nunes, man. I think she's somebody that nobody's gonna be able to touch.
I think if Cyborg comes back, she beats her.
Really?
You know why?
I don't think so.
You know why? Cyborg fought with emotion.
I remember.
Who fights with emotion to get knocked out the most? My favorite fighter in the UFC, Cody Garbrandt. When you fight with emotion, you make stupid mistakes.
That's never something you want to do.
Your fight IQ drops when you fight with emotion.
You need to stick to what the camp said you had to do. Stick to your game plan. Don't come out there. This is how people lose very quickly.
And she threw haymakers and got countered each haymaker she threw.
For sure.
And Amanda is just, oh my God. You saw what she did to Ronda Rousey.
She's
a legend killer. She's a legend killer.
She's all around. It's great because you'd think like there's a lot of these UFC fighters who are like one dimensional. They're strikers or they're grapplers. This and that. She can do it all.
Yeah. She's so well rounded and she's really hitting her prime right now. And that's a great thing to see. I'm not a big fan of Nunes. I'm not high on her, but it's awesome to see.
Yeah, so let's move on. So that's after the early prelims. We got the preliminary card. Brad Tavares going up against Edmund Shahabazian.
Before that, it's Andrei Arlovsky.
Oh, that's right.
And I don't even know how to say his name. Jairzinho Rozenstruik.
Arlovsky.
I tried.
Yeah.
I tried, guys. It's a hard name to say. But Arlovsky, the vet, going up against the 8-0 up-and-comer, great fight to watch. Who doesn't want to see that? Arlovsky's a dog. He fights... in the heavyweight division, he fights more than anybody else.
You know what my favorite thing is, though?
He stays consistent.
I love the idea of having the vet go against the young guy, because it can only help the young guy if he has a good showing. Even if he loses, it looks good on the young guy doing well.
You know who that helped the most?
Who?
Izzy.
Yep.
Israel Adesanya.
Yep.
And that Anderson Silva Adesanya fight, it really gave him, the brand he has now, of just this monster. As much as I dislike his arrogance and his cockiness, I get what he's doing. It's selling the fight. It's giving the people what they want to see, and they want to see Izzy. He's a little nerdy, Death Note, anime guy, but it gives the people what they want to see.
Yeah.
And it gives character.
So we will, by the end of this podcast, go into Izzy. because there is some news about that.
Yeah.
But let's move on. So like I said, Brad Tavares' fight.
Brad Tavares has been knocked out by Khabib. He's also been knocked out by Gregor Gillespie, which is crazy.
So Edmund is 10-0 coming into this bout.
Yeah. I'm looking at it right now. He 21-year-old against a 31-year-old.
Yeah, so again, this is another young.
Edmund's young.
This is another.
This is like infant baby young for especially for the UFC. That's insane.
Yeah.
If you're at this, that's crazy. People like that, Max Holloway, Robert Whittaker, people who start that young, Sean O'Malley, people like that start that young, it translates to greatness.
Yeah, so this is another one where it's the young guy versus the vet, and no matter what showing Edmund puts out here, it can only do good for him. And if he wins,
I see Edmund winning that fight.
I would love to see him win, because that would just be really good for him.
Yeah, I see that. I see him winning that fight.
All right, so the next up we have Shane Burgos. He's going up against Makwan Amirkhani.
Amirkhani, yeah. I'm telling you guys, this is what the UFC does. They give you these kids that you got to watch their names. You got to see what they're up to. Shane Burgos is 20-1 or 12-1, excuse me.
Yeah.
Makwan is 15-3.
And the thing is we, as much as we want to say like, oh, the main event of this card is something that we'll talk about it, but it's one of those that Zach isn't excited for. Even though now there's a little bit more to it for him.
It's not that I'm not excited for it. We'll talk about it later.
Yeah.
Let's get into it later.
This card is deep. And it goes from the early prelims to the end of the card.
What it's doing, what they did for this card, and I love what Dana did for this card, is it's paving the way for the future of each division.
Yeah.
That's on here. It's paving the way for the light heavyweight division. Because our next fight, Corey Anderson versus Johnny Walker.
Oh, that's going to be a good one.
Corey Anderson wins this. He gets shot up. His stock gets shot. Johnny Walker gets this dub, shot right up.
So who do you have winning this?
Corey Anderson
I have Johnny Walker winning this.
Corey Anderson has a reputation of getting caught and going to sleep. If he gets caught, he goes to sleep. And Johnny Walker, I really don't like Johnny Walker that much. I don't like how much stock they're giving him. Hopefully Corey Anderson can get it done, because I really like Corey Anderson's work ethic. He's 12-4. Johnny Walker technically is the more seasoned guy at 17-3, but he's considered the young guy. I mean, age difference, 3 years apart. Corey Anderson's 30 years old. The reach difference, 82-79. Johnny Walker's taller by 2 inches. Has a 3-inch reach advantage. This is a fight that I can see, Johnny Walker knocking him out. But Corey Anderson does what he does. He can win this. He can grind it out.
I don't disagree, because again, this is combat sport. This is live. This is man on man. This is literally the outcome of that date. It's not predetermined. This is 100%.
This isn't fake.
This isn't
staged. This isn't WWE. This is real life.
This is
where people get hurt. Lives are on the line. This isn't something that you can make up and you can fake till you make,
Yeah, and you can never predict anything for certain.
Yeah, for sure.
We've learned that in the past. So let's move on to the main card. This is the meat of this card. We're going to start off with Kevin Lee going up against, like you said earlier, Gregor Gillespie.
Yep. Yeah. I think this is interesting. Kevin Lee went up to welterweight. Failed.
He's lightweight.
Yeah, he went up to welterweight last fight against RDA.
Yeah.
Failed.
And now he's back to lightweight.
Yeah, he moved back down. And this trend of moving up and then losing, it's blowing my mind. I don't understand it.
You were telling me the other day about these guys that just move up in weight class. I don't know what they expect. Not everybody is a special enough athlete to be able to make it work.
Yeah, another person moved up in weight too. Jacare Souza.
Yep.
He moved up. And you see this trend. They move up, they lose.
Well, what do you do now? You got to go back down.
You can't stay, because that just killed your chances of ever making it there.
Yeah.
Jared Cannonier is the one exception to moving down weight classes and succeeding, because he moved down from light heavyweight to middleweight to welterweight and then back up, and look what he's doing. He's doing good against quality guys.
Now, let's not take anything away from Gregor Gillespie.
No. Nothing at all. Because literally, his kid's Khabib 2.0.
Yeah, he's 13-0. Will he lose this fight? Probably not. I think he wins.
This is interesting. Kevin Lee, wrestler, striker, submission guy.
He can do it all.
Gregor Gillespie, he has knockout power. He can wrestle like nobody's business. He's grimy. He's nasty.
Like
he
you said,
grinds it out. He doesn't care. He pops, hits. He keeps going until you're done.
Like you said, Khabib light.
He's Khabib 2.0. That's what they call him. Khabib 2.0.
So give me who you're gonna take to win this fight.
Gregor.
Me too.
Decision.
How? Decision.
Decision.
I'm gonna go knockout round 2.
Okay.
Let's move up to the heavyweight division. This is a division that's sort of it needs a little help.
This is a fight that's gonna dictate what happens next.
Yeah, so it's gonna be Derek Lewis. Derek Lewis. Sorry, guys. Versus Blagoy Ivanov. Yep. Should be a good one.
Yeah, I'm excited for it. Derek Lewis. Honestly, he hasn't been impressing me recently. Hasn't. He had a big win against Ngannou.
Yeah, so I actually have his recent fights pulled up if you want me to
Let me
help you
hear
out
it.
here.
Let me hear it.
So I'll give you his last 6. So he lost to Mark Hunt.
Yep.
And then he beat Marcin Tybura. He beat Francis Ngannou. He beat Alexander Volkov, but then he lost to DC and JDS.
He also was losing the fight against Volkov.
And then he got that knockout.
He got that knockout, but he was getting outstruck and he was tired. He looked gassed.
So if he loses that fight to Volkov, by the way, that would have been 3 fight losing. But he won, so it's 2 fight losing streak. Will he break that Saturday? I don't think so.
If he doesn't knock him out in the first, he's losing that fight.
So this is what we were talking about earlier. So having a losing streak like that, what does that do to Derek Lewis?
That dictates his future in the UFC, which, as much as you don't want to see somebody leave, he has that draw because he's funny. He says whatever he wants.
For
he's
sure.
Goofy. He's goofy.
He's a goofy guy.
Yeah. Why'd you take off your pants? My balls were hot.
Exactly.
That's funny. That's funny. That gives people comedy that they want to see after some guy just got his head knocked off.
For sure.
And, this guy's dying out there.
All right. So who are you taking here? Because I'm going to take Ivanov.
Lewis, first round TKO.
Wow.
We'll see this upset.
We'll see. All right, next one. Welterweight matchup.
I'm excited for this fight.
Wonder Boy Stephen Thompson.
This isn't my fight of the night, but I'm excited for this.
Versus Vicente
Luque.
Yep.
Vicente Luque came off of an amazing fight against Mike Perry. I personally thought he lost that fight. Mike Perry was doing great in that fight, but judges thought otherwise. He had home field advantage. It's whatever. Wonder Boy came off of a devastating knockout.
I have it here. So his last 5, ready? He drew Tyrone Woodley in a majority draw.
Lost to Tyron again.
And then he lost to Tyrone Woodley,
lost
decision
to
majority. And then he beat Masvidal, who is main eventing this pay-per-view.
Masvidal back then, let me point this out.
This was UFC 217, by the way. So we are 30-some-odd UFCs later.
Masvidal really went through a transformation, man. He changed himself for the better. He gained more confidence in himself, and he had struggles with depression and anxiety, and he's rejuvenated. It's awesome to see that.
Yep. And then he lost to Darren Till by decision.
Yeah.
And then he lost to Anthony Pettis, knocked out.
That was the first time he's ever been knocked out.
Yeah, all his losses were decision.
The first time ever been knocked out cold. I think he bounces back.
Do you? I love Wonder Boy.
I think he bounces back and beats Vicente.
I am going to agree. Except it is tough for him because if he loses this fight, again, another guy on a 2-fight losing streak.
I think, he's so seasoned though. He saw what Mike Perry did to him, and Mike Perry is no slouch. By no means is Mike Perry a slouch in any way, shape, or form. He's a dog from Orlando. He's from Apopka, actually.
Hey, shout out to Apopka.
Yeah, he's a dog though. He's a dog.
All right. So who you got? Wonder Boy?
Wonder Boy decision.
All right. Let's move on. Next one.
This is my fight of the night.
Darren Till and Kevin Gastelum.
My fight of the night is this one right here at middleweight. Let's make sure we understand. This is at middleweight.
So Gastelum's last few fights, Vitor Belfort, no contest.
Yeah.
Chris Weidman lost submission arm triangle.
Yeah.
Win over Michael Bisping knockout.
Disgusting knockout.
Split decision over Ronaldo Souza. Win.
Jacare, yeah.
And then he lost to Israel on 236.
Yeah, but that was an amazing fight. Amazing fight.
Oh, I love watching that type of fight.
Yeah, these are two guys though that I'm really high on because I love Kelvin and I really love Darren Till is probably.
You were telling me a story earlier about Darren Till.
Yeah, I've been actually watching Darren Till and I didn't even know I was for about 4 years now, and I had no clue. I had no clue.
Kid's good. Dude's good.
He is a younger, better version of Wonder Boy. His style is so different and it's so refreshing to see. And I love it. I love the kid, what he does in there. And he's so humble and he's so, he's so humble and he's so, what's the word?
Is he likable?
So like, he's like an average guy. He's a blue collar guy,
He's who you would call the sort of the average Joe, very relatable.
Very, very relatable. If you ever seen him when I want you guys to watch a video. Watch him walking out to Sweet Caroline. Literally, you can't help but smile and get goosebumps. This guy is so likable and so happy.
So let's go ahead and pick a decision here. So Gastelum Till, your main event.
My main event. I like both these guys.
I'm gonna take Till.
I want Darren Till to bounce back, and I think he will. I think he'll make a statement with this. My
First round?
My one thing. He's moving up.
Yep.
Stats aren't on his side here. It's not on his side.
Not on his side at all. But I love Darren Till.
He's had weight problems, so I understand why he's doing it, and I see him winning.
All right. And then
that's a swing. That's a swing. That can go either way.
The main event of the card that's actually the main event, one that you don't really care as much about, but you do a little bit more now.
Yeah, it added context. It added a little slice
there's a storyline
interest.
Now. It's going to be Masvidal, Nate Diaz. I mean, we could talk all day about this, but really all I want to know is who's winning and why.
Diaz.
I'm also going to take Nate Diaz.
I want Masvidal to, win because he deserves, nothing but success. But if Nate Diaz gets him to the ground, he's going to break him.
100%.
And Masvidal's, when he gets put in situations like that, he can overcome, but if he's mentally broken, he doesn't succeed. Against Wonder Boy, that's what happened.
No, for sure. I mean, no matter what, this is the main event of the card, and BMF, all this stuff.
It does nothing for the division, though. That's my thing. This does nothing for the division because if Masvidal wins, he's not getting a title shot. It's going to be him versus Leon Edwards. Mark my words. Mark my words.
Which would have been the fight had Diaz been taken out.
I'd love to see that. I'd love to see him.
I know. When I texted you about that, you said Leon Edwards, Masvidal, money fight.
Bro, that's a money fight. And he's not going to give him a 3-piece. He's going to give him a family meal. A family meal. I want to see Leon Edwards, get in there with him. I want to see Masvidal just be himself and just dominate like he dominated Ben Askren with a flying knee.
Yep. So that's the card. And then like we said earlier, so we were talking about Israel really quickly. A little bit of news came out actually in that division. So Paulo Costa out 8 months.
He's a clown.
With a biceps tear.
I'm not a big fan of Paulo Costa. Honestly, so he's a bully.
My question for you is, who is going to be Israel's first title defense?
I said it. Cannonier.
Okay.
Cannonier could step up in that role and be that guy. I think, honestly, right now, though, it's hard to tell. I don't see Robert getting it again because history isn't, losing isn't good for anybody. Robert Whittaker's a legend, and what kills me about this is the way media gives such a bad look for Robert Whittaker after that last fight. Did you watch the fight?
I did.
You did?
Yes.
What'd you think? Honest opinion, did you think that Whittaker was getting dominated?
I don't think he got dominated.
No?
For me, I did think Israel was going to win. That was what I had predicted on Twitter. But
at No Cap Sports Podcast.
Yeah, at No Cap Sports Podcast on Twitter. But at the end of the day, who won? Israel did.
Like I said, what sets back Robert is his chin. His chin's gone. He went 10 rounds with Romero. It sets him back. Izzy, I don't know who's going to beat him. I don't know who's going to fight him. Hopefully Cannonier. Hopefully he gets him.
For sure. So let's go ahead and end it like we did last week. This is fun. So it's going to be Zach's fighter to watch.
Yeah, my fighter to watch actually is on this card. Gregor Gillespie.
We talked about him earlier.
Yeah. Like I said, 13-0. He's been in the UFC since 2016. He had a big KO win over Yancy Medeiros, which is insane. Before this, he was a lightweight champ at Ring of Combat. You know, that's crazy. This guy's an absolute beast, an absolute monster. You know, that, like I said, if you're getting compared to Khabib, if they're calling you Khabib 2.0, that's not an insult. That's not a jab at you. That's a compliment. That's a, you know, highest of the highest of compliments. If you think that, you know, this kid can be the future, you're right. You're right. He is the future. And Kevin Lee is going to be his first test, his first real test of, you know, how good is this kid? And you're going to see just how good he is.
All right. I mean, I'm excited. I think Gregor Gillespie is going to be an outstanding fighter.
Yeah, for sure. This is, like I said, real quick. Him, Alexander Hernandez. These are two kids in the lightweight division that, you know, you guys going to need to watch out for because they're the future. And the future is coming up real soon.
All right, guys. I think that's going to do it for tonight.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for tuning in.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys giving us a listen. Like we said, like, share, subscribe.
Hit that notification bell.
And follow us on Twitter at No Cap Sports Podcast.
Please and thank you.
And we'll see you next time for Chris and Zach.
Yep, it's been for real, guys.
We'll catch you later.
Have fun.
Peace.
Bye.